Hello and welcome to another episode of Gaming Reviews, where this week I'm taking a look at the game Mortisomem. I received a free review copy of the game from our friends over at game.press, so a massive thank you to them and sometimes you for the copy of the game. I played on the Xbox, but the game is also available on the PlayStation and Switch formats, and at time of recording you're looking at around £8 for the purchase price. What is Mortisomem? Well, it's a retro-styled horror adventure set in 1917 in the forests of Brazil. You play as Donald Barnes, an American merchant living in the country who gets caught up in a terrifying local legend. After hearing tales of Mortisomem, a murdered man who supposedly returned as a demon to terrorise the living, Donald soon finds himself stalked by a creature that matches the description. From there, it's about his survival, exploration, uncovering folklore and solving a mystery as you try to make it home alive. It's also worth shouting out here that the game is a work of a solo developer. How does it play? The game plays like a traditional first-person horror adventure. Controls are simple: left stick to move, right stick for camera, X to jump, B to interact. You'll spend most of your time exploring the forest, chatting with locals and piecing together the story. Early on, you're told you need 3 keys to move forward. You can tackle them in any order and the world opens up for your exploration right there. There are side encounters too, like rescuing a nun trapped in a ravine, alongside creepy set pieces like bridges falling away behind you and lifeless bodies being found in the woods. Of course, the Mortisomem is always lurking. You'll know it's nearby when the audio ramps up and your vision starts to pixelate. The best strategy for dealing with it? Don't fight, just run. It's not hard to outrun the thing unless your stamina runs out. The graphics and the atmosphere. If you've got nostalgia for the original PlayStation era horror games, this is going to hit you right in the feels. The grainy textures, chunky models and heavy fog are all intentional design choices. The fog especially adds that classic Silent Hill style tension, as you never quite know what's going to lurk in front of you. It's not pretty in the modern sense, but it's creepy in exactly the way it's trying to be. The audio is pretty good too. You'll hear unsettling forest noises, strange screams in the distance, and even distorted music from bars or radios that sounds like it's being piped through an old transistor radio. All of this layers together to keep you uneasy, even during the quieter stretches. So if I was going to sum the game up, if we look at the negatives, not everything lands perfectly. There's a lot of what I call empty walking. The game leans more on atmosphere than jump scares, and apart from the Mortisomem, there's no enemy. So there's going to be a lot of stretches where it's just walking, and that's why I called it empty walking, because you're just walking from point to point with not much happening. Clunky controls. Now, there's 2 elements to this. So first, there's the things that feel unnatural when you've been programmed to play certain games. So shooting in this game is achieved by aiming with the RB button and firing with the B instead of the left trigger and right trigger, which the right trigger isn't used in this game, so it does feel kind of unnatural. The inventory and menu system also takes some time getting used to, on the console especially. A couple of times I hadn't realised I dropped key items such as my pistol, which I handily found by chance later on. But yeah, there were a few times when just trying to navigate the menu, I discarded items. There's also a couple of sections which play out frustratingly because of the controls. So there's a bit where you have to jump up on a couple of levels to access another area. Personally anyway, I found that to be quite frustrating, as it either needed pixel perfect precision or a little bit of luck, and at the time for a while I wasn't getting any of those. So yeah, that was a tad annoying. And late on in the game there's a section where you've got to fix a boat, and again, because of the controls, that handled quite sluggishly, and again I found it annoying more than interesting as a puzzle to solve. There are tonal clashes I find as well sometimes. So the game is trying to be this horror game, but there are a lot of humorous elements, and sometimes they can be quite funny, so I'm not criticizing that. But right at the start, if you find yourself in the restroom in the bar, there's a Skibbity toilet cameo. A lot of the NPCs, when you go into their houses, in most games, they just accept you and just, carry on with the conversation. But in this game, a lot of them scold you for it. And I found that funny. I find that quite refreshing because it's obviously a natural reaction. But that, along with a couple of other moments, which I won't spoil here, I found took away from or undercut the horror vibe the game was trying to go for. And there's also a short run time. You're looking at around, I think, 2 hours to complete. If you take your time, if you run into kind of any problems with the puzzles or you're just trying to soak everything in, you might get 3 hours. But yeah, I'd say anything around the 1.5 2 hour mark to complete the game. But on the flip side, the atmosphere, as I've said throughout, is fantastic. The visuals and audio do create an element of tension. There's a lot of lore and story details hidden in letters and dialogue if you take the time to dig into them. And while it's short, it's focused. As I said, there's not too much to do. You've got a couple of side missions, find the 3 keys. So you'll always feel like you are on the road to achieving something. So to finally give my verdict on the game, it's not the scariest horror game out there, and I wouldn't go into this expecting a true horror experience. It can be a bit rough around the edges, but for the price, it offers a tight, eerie experience with a unique setting that you don't often see in games. If you're into retro style horror and enjoy atmosphere over action, and you don't mind some clunky or frustrating interface issues, this one could be worth a look. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Gaming Reviews.